everyone. Today we're going to talk about rhetorical appeals and rhetoric. You generally see rhetoric and rhetorical appeals being used in speeches or persuasive writing. But just to quickly review, rhetoric is just any language or language technique being used to persuade or make a point or bring about a call to action. So that term rhetoric can seem kind of scary, but in essence, it's another way to reference sometimes literary devices can be used as rhetoric, and it's really any kind of persuasive or argumentative tool used to convey a certain point to the audience. So today specifically, we're going to talk about rhetorical appeals, and this is when a speaker is trying to appeal to his or her audience through three different ways. And we have ethos, logos, and pathos. And so ethos is when the speaker or the author is trying to appeal through their character or credibility. Logos is using logic to make the appeal, and then pathos is an emotional appeal with the audience. So just to kind of give you some examples, if you're trying to sell your car, you may appeal through ethos, and you might say, buy my old car because I'm a published author and my grandpa once sold the most cars in the state. So that's speaking to your character as a person, who you are. And so you're trying to convince people to do what you want based off of your standing, who you are. Appealing to logic or logos, you might say, buy my old car because yours is broken and mine is the only one on sale. And so logically, mine is the only one you can buy. So that would be an appeal via logos. And then pathos, or appealing on someone's emotions, so you might say, buy my old car, or this cute little kitten afflicted with a rare degenerative disease will expire in agony, for my car is the last asset I have in the world, and I'm selling it to pay for my kitty's medical treatments. So there you're appealing to a person's emotions. You're kind of playing on their emotions to try to convince them to do what it is you want them to do. So looking a little more closely at logos, pathos, and ethos, with logos, you're appealing to a person's rationality or the audience's rationality, and you're going to do that through facts, statistics, talking about experiments, logical reasoning. You may use comparisons or universal truths. With pathos, that's the emotional appeal, you're going to be appealing to the audience's beliefs and feelings. So we've got two types of emotions, higher emotions and lower emotions. And higher emotions are these feelings of fairness, love, pity, hope. And then the lower emotions we could talk about are greed, lust, revenge, anger. So you're using some of those emotions to kind of tap into the audience and persuade them to act in a certain way or believe a certain thing or, persuade them of something. And then ethos is the character appeal, and that's the sense the author or the speaker gives as being a competent, fair, and authoritative person. So you're going to be talking about your own trustworthiness, your own credibility, your own reliability. You may give expert testimony, talk about fairness and reliability of your sources. That's going to be appealing to your audience through ethos. So just to kind of go over it one more time, as the speaker or the writer, if you are using the ethos, rhetorical appeal, you're going to want the audience to think that you are trustworthy. So you're going to kind of present yourself as being trustworthy. You're going to want to establish your right to standing or speaking about the subject, why it is you are an authority figure in this subject. Are you speaking in good faith? What is your motivation? What is your intent behind your speaking? And decorum. Do you meet the expectations of the audience? So that's kind of the things you're going to be thinking about if you're using the ethos appeal. For logos, you're going to want to define your terms and positions supporting it. So that means like if you're using any vocabulary that is specific to your expertise, you're going to want to define those pieces of vocabulary. You're going to want to use commonplaces or truths that are widely or universally accepted, and you're going to want to create connections between your points of an argument. So basically following through a very logical flow of explanation. And then finally, pathos. As the speaker, you're going to be considering what emotions you want to elicit from your audience. How will you create these emotions? And these emotions that you want to create can range depending on the occasion and the audience. And you're going to create these emotions through word choice, imagery, and tone. Now, a speaker may use all three, ethos, logos, and pathos, in a speech that they are giving to an audience. And as readers, as an audience, it is important to look at and understand what those rhetorical appeals that the speaker is using are, so that we can understand how it is that they are delivering their message and kind of convincing the audience of their point. That's part of analysis. So this week you're going to be looking at a speech by Malala Yousafzai that she delivered to the United Nations in July of 2013. And as you look at that speech, I want you to consider the rhetorical appeals that she uses in her speech and how effective those appeals are.